Hey, everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am Diane Whidden, and today I am so excited. We are hosting a true expert on sustainable scale, someone who understands that hitting six figures consistently shouldn't mean sacrificing your creative freedom or your sanity. Our
Yeah.
guest, Eryn Morgan, is a highly sought after business coach who specializes in helping established web designers transition from the chaotic hustle model. We've all been there to running a predictable, profitable business that pays well and feels good. What sets Eryn apart is her deep expertise in strategy honed from years of marketing and sales experience across corporate, nonprofit, and small businesses. She teaches you how to design your entire workflow from client acquisition to project delivery around your innate instinctive strengths. Eryn has helped dozens of creatives surpass the 100K mark and go beyond it with ease, not by telling them what to do, but by showing them how to do it in a way that aligns with their unique energy. Eryn, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to chat.
Awesome. I love this because one of the reasons that I have you on today is because you and I just talked a couple of days ago. We had a coffee
Mhm.
chat and had so much fun. And it was just supposed to be 30 minutes and we rambled on for an hour, like just talking about life and all the things. We had the best
Yeah.
time. So I knew I was like, I got to have her on the channel. So I'm so
Yay.
excited for this.
I
Yeah.
felt the same. It was a really great convo. So I'm glad we get to continue it and get other people listen in.
Right, and get all geeky about web design and business and strategy and all the stuff. It's gonna be
Yes.
fun. Okay, so let's start out because you have a mastermind where you talk just to web designers. And so you, like with the history that you've had and all the experience that you've had, which we're gonna dive into that, but you wanted to just help web designers and you wanted to help them build the business and a life that really works for them. So you coach designers to design offers for transformation and profit, which is a little bit different than what most people do. Most people like really teach like how to design websites and how to set up all of the admin things and all the systems and processes. So can you provide an example of how like a web design package transforms from being just a deliverable website into a high value transformation, justifying the significant price increase that we all know is what changes the game?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not that I don't know about all that other stuff behind the scenes. When you are selling a website, you're not just selling a website. You're actually selling a transformation tool for your client. So a client comes to you and they have struggles and needs and hopes and desires and an idea of what having this website is actually going to do for them and for their business. And so when you understand that, you're able to help them go on a journey through your deliverables from where they are right now to where they want to be. And when you are able to paint the picture for them of what this website is going to be able to help them do and how it's going to help them grow their company, it becomes more of an experience and less of a here's your website. And so, because we put those extra details, the extra layer of thoughtfulness into the project timelines, the extra care that all my clients will always bring to their projects, it actually helps you raise those prices and have almost none in terms of pushback because of the way you sell the experience and sell that transformation that you're going to deliver. So we think, oh, I sell websites. You don't sell websites. You sell transformation via a website. And when you make that tiny distinction, it actually changes everything.
Yeah, I could not agree with that more. So let's get granular. So just to get people's attention, what kind of money are we talking about? Like, what's the difference? Give me just a for example. And of course, everyone's different and every market is different, but a little before and
Sure.
after of what that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I'll use sort of a middle of the road example. I had a client who came to me and she was charging about $6,000 for her websites. She was delivering them over between 4 and 6 months by the time she finished both the strategy at the front end. And then there was actually some branding involved because a lot of my designers are not
Mhm.
just web design, but maybe their brand as well. There's sort of that mix. And so she had it on about a 4 month term. And what we were able to do is transform it into a 6 month.
It's okay.
I have it on
Sure.
Do Not Disturb, but my brother goes through because he's
I honestly can't even hear it. Your mic's doing a great job.
Oh, okay, great. So let me start that answer again. Sorry about
Mhm.
that.
I can even edit in between. You were just starting to say we transferred her to a 6 month.
Oh, okay. We transferred her from about 4 month deliverable into a 6 month, which
Mhm.
gave her the time and space to get feedback from the client because sometimes clients are a little slow to give the feedback for a
Mhm.
variety of reasons. And we allowed her to spread out her term of payment. So, one of the unique things that I always advise my clients to do is instead of putting at 50% upon start and 50% on deliverability, I like to create stagger start income, and I like to create that cash flow in business. So we actually changed it from 6,000 to 14,000 and then divided those payments over 6 months. So what I knew was that everything she was including was way more than a $6,000 project. So we didn't do it straight from 6,000 to 14,000. I think we did 6, and then we went to like 8,500, and then we went to 10, and then we got her to 12, and we got her finally to 14, which is where it landed and stick and stay there. But that was maybe over 2 or 3 months worth of working on the mindset around raising her prices, but then also working on the systems inside of the package to make sure she felt really confident with the way she was delivering over that new timeline. So it transformed literally everything.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because talking about like the systems and the admin and all those things within this idea of like charging for transformation, charging for value, that I mean, that's where the magic is, because when you're
Mhm.
confident in it, you know that they're going to get the value, you can sell it with more confidence, and you really start attracting those people who are prepared to pay that. So that's genius. I love that.
Yeah, that was just one fun example. And her clients were pretty regular businesses. They weren't anything that took a ton of deep dev work or anything like that. And they also weren't a one-page website, right? It was something that required a lot of design sophistication around that, and then was a very standard kind of consulting style website for most of her clients.
I feel like that's super practical for most people who are designing
Mhm.
websites. And your background is in Show It, right?
My site is built on Show It, and so though I probably shouldn't, can go in and muck about just a little bit, changing some things. I have a basic fluency there. I actually love it so much. I'm sponsoring their conference this year, which is a huge honor to even be on their sponsor roster because they have really cool sponsors. I know that this platform has this beautiful blend of functionality, beauty, some of the tech pieces. There's some really great things about it. So I'm very comfortable with it, but my clients design on all platforms.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, Show It's really great, and it attracts a lot of really stellar designers and
I
a lot of
agree.
clients who are interested in the aesthetic piece, because yeah, it's
Yes.
just you can do gorgeous things with it.
Yes.
Okay, so mentioning your kind of background and where you've come from and what gives this expertise that you have. Your
Mhm.
background includes high level strategic planning and corporate support for like some major institutions. So tell us a little bit about that, and then share with us like the single most valuable lesson that you've learned that you're taking from managing complex corporate stuff that you're
Mhm.
bringing to boutique web designers.
Yeah. So I think one of the cool things about my career is it's been incredibly nonlinear. I've done projects everywhere from building a fintech app to working behind the scenes of a company based in Australia, which was a real interesting time zone challenge. I've been the director of marketing in a nonprofit. I've run projects for universities, just a lot of things in between. And what I have found that they all have in common are two things: people buy from people, right? So there's this foundational thing about how we relate to other people, how we manage people inside of our businesses in terms of our team, but also how we interact and work with clients. So there are certain universal things about how we work with clients that it doesn't matter what industry you're in, they're going to miss the deadline. Like in all the best ways, they're going to miss the deadline, right? So
No
we
kidding.
work with that and know that we can make plans and choices in the way that we sell and the way that we deliver our offers. Every single business is based on two things: what is the problem you solve, and what's the solution you provide. It's problem, solution, problem, solution. And I do it with every single client when I say, what's the problem you solve? If they can't answer, like, we need to dig deeper. We need to understand.
I'm gonna
No
say,
one is going to say that, right? But what is the actual problem? Well, the problem could be that visually they're not satisfied with how it looks. It could be that the problem is on the tech back end. They're frustrated with not knowing how to do the updates they need to. It could be it's not converting leads. Right? We don't know exactly what the problem is, but each designer I find has a specific sweet spot, sort of specialty of the projects that they like to take on in terms of the problems they like to solve. And so when
Mhm.
we begin there, then we can also say, what is the solution you provide? Well, yes, it's a website, but it may be some additional layers of support, like training libraries. Maybe the solution is I'm going to build you a site and then show you and teach you what you need in order for you to be able to be confident updating your blog yourself, right? So that's a different level of sophistication in terms of talking about problem solution. And anytime somebody is getting into designer speak, we'll actually do the exercise of saying, okay, this is the problem you solve. Now, how would your client say it? What would
Yeah.
they say? What language would they use? And that really helps to clarify for your marketing message.
Okay, so for that client that you moved from the 6 to 14, was there something in there that she needed honing? You don't have to reveal who she is or anything, but I'm just
Sure,
wondering if
sure.
there was anything that like in that process that like gave her the clarity of like, "Oh my gosh, this is what I do and this is what's worth 14 grand."
Yeah, I think that the first thing was that just she was running over, like, she could see that her projects were running over timeline, and
Mhm.
it was because she was layering in additional rounds of edits that were really positive edits, not the nitpicky kinda edit,
Mhm.
but she was doing really positive edits that truly made an impact on the end result. She was also doing a lot of custom lettering, drawing, creating custom elements for the client's
Wow.
site. This was way before like where we are now. It's so easy to create custom looking stuff. Back
Right.
then, she was literally drawing on her iPad and she was creating these custom fonts, custom. It was really, really a lot of uniqueness that she was putting into the world. It was a site that a client could get nowhere else because of those
Yeah.
hand created elements. And so when for her, because that was her creative gift, she's like, well, yeah, of course I do that. Doesn't everybody? No.
Right. Right.
No, they don't.
Right.
No, they don't. And so we take so many things for granted inside of our projects. We just think everybody does it that way and realize that we really have that opportunity to shine in so many unique areas. The other thing I do, and it's not sexy, Diane. Nobody comes to me and be like, I want to be a better leader. I actually teach my clients how to step into a true leadership role in their business. You
Yeah.
don't have to call yourself a CEO. You don't have to have a formal title like that if it doesn't feel good. But ultimately, I want you leading your business and leading your clients and doing it with a level of confidence that also commands higher price points because everybody wants somebody to step in, take command of a project, show us how it's going to progress through the timeline, and really be able to hold on to the vision of what we're doing. And so when you bring that level of leadership, that's worth paying for because just think of the number of people that you've said, oh, yeah, web designer ghosted me. It's like, oh, my clients do not do that. We are leaders in this space. And that's how I like to help that. They don't even realize they're doing it until they're all of a sudden leading their company and they're going, wow, I never even saw that level of growth coming.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's such a good point too, and I think a lot of people can really gloss over it, but, like, when you're working with a client and, the client I see this a lot, this particular point, I see it all the time with edits because the client's coming back, "Well,
Mhm,
can you change this and do this and 1 pixel and with this and whatever,"
mhm,
and it's like, especially when they're asking you to do bad things, like, when they're
mhm,
making bad choices, either graphically or visually or, like,
mhm,
UX or whatever, "Can you
mhm.
put my logo on the right-hand side?" No. "Have you ever seen a website with a logo on the right hand?" Stop. No, that's not how people read. On the
Right,
right-hand
right,
side if you never want people to look at it. But a lot of, especially junior designers, don't know that you can really push back. "Look, I'm the expert here. You're paying me
right,
multi-thousands of dollars to tell you how to do this in a great way. I'm not doing everything that you want. You're not the boss of this. I'm the boss of this.
right.
Listen to me."
Yeah, right, no kidding, and I think that we all have a way of this specific area that you've pulled out, a logo on the left versus the right. These are the kinds of things my clients come to me in sort of mini meltdowns because they don't actually know how to go back to the client and push back or say no or position the fact that this isn't going to serve them. And so
Mhm.
that's why I always have that clarity around what's the problem you solve.
Yeah.
If the problem you solve is you want the client comes and says, I want to make money for my website. That's the solution they want. The
Mhm.
problem you solve might be related to UI UX, right?
Mhm.
Your site, if we design, so it's being able to say, okay, we can do that. But here's what's going to happen if we do that. And based on the fact that you told me you wanted to have your site convert really easily, I'm going to advise again. And then the client goes, oh, okay. It's because it's being explained in a way that's not like what I want
Mhm.
versus what you want. It's like, wait, the goal is this. So do
Yeah.
you want the goal? And that's how we're able to sort of guide them. I write a lot of people laugh. Dear name, I wanted to share with you about how your recent request, right? I write a lot of these kinds of emails for clients because they're like, how do
Right.
I respond? And I end up doing that. So there's a lot of those dear name inbox or messages in the
Right.
back.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think there's such an art because a lot of people they don't want to say no. And then they're like, but how do I
Right.
push back? And how do I? And I'm like, be
Mhm.
supportive. This is a great idea. It's awesome, but it's not going to work in this situation. Or like
Yeah.
there's a better way, or let's try this instead. Or yeah. I
Yeah.
love that. Let me ask you one more since we're drilling in deep on this. So what was the main administrative thing that you shifted for that client? Like just one, like a key like, this is what's gonna give your clients that $14,000 experience.
Yeah, from an admin side, we pulled like 3 or 4 recent projects that she had done, and we
Mhm,
looked for the pattern to see where there was consistency in missed deadline, whether it was on
mhm,
her end because of requests or on their end. We kept the timeline from an internal perspective. We were trying still to finish that project in 4 months, but what we did was put it on a 6-month timeline, and everywhere that was consistently a missed
mhm.
deadline, we just started to fill in the extra time the extension gave us. So
Nice.
internally, we are always trying to move quicker, right? But if the client missed a deadline anywhere along the way, we knew we were still within timeline scope. And that allowed us often to produce the end result sooner than originally scripted.
Of
So
course,
we were delivering in advance. It wasn't so much as an over deliver, but we were producing early, and that always made everybody feel good because,
of
oh my
course.
gosh, we're done early. That's awesome. It's a rare scenario where that happens. And so having those buffers from an admin side, that was huge.
Awesome. Very cool.
One of the things that I noticed was there wasn't actually enough time off in her calendar. So, like, I would like to take off the
Mm.
week of my birthday. I would like to take off the week of Christmas. I always go on a family vacation in the summer. We discount that stuff when we're planning our capacity. And so, by putting because the things are going to happen on the client's end as well. So, it's not
Yeah.
always a missed deadline. It might be something happy and great that you really want them to be able to do or you want to be able to do. So, just building in that buffer time, and everybody's pretty cool with it because we're delivering something
Mhm.
at different benchmarks along the way.
I feel like that's a lesson for all of us because I'm like, I'll
Yeah.
stack that calendar full. I can totally get all this stuff done in a week or a month or a
Yep.
year. When is my bubble bath time? When do I shut off? Okay, so let's talk a little bit about like exhaustion and overwhelm. So many
Mhm.
designers report feeling like they're just treading water and they're exhausted, especially when they're financially successful. That's personally one of my things. I've
Mhm.
never had a problem feeling like I could earn money, but I always felt like I had to kill myself to do it. That was like my trade-off.
Mm.
So it was
Mhm.
always
Mhm.
like this feast or famine. Like I just want to be broke. I'll be broke if just no one will bother me. It was terrible. So what's the fundamental shift in mindset or strategy that's required to get you to move from that chaotic, like hustle, like overwhelm piece to like, spaciousness, profitability, creative
Mhm.
autonomy?
Yeah, I do this with literally every single client I work with. It's pretty simple math, but it's actually harder to put into practice than it sounds. So we say, okay, how many of that core, the standard project that you want to have be your main source of revenue, how many of those do you want to do in a year? Oh, well, let's make our math really easy. And let's say we want to do 24 of those a year. It's like, great. Then that means we're starting 2 a month. So what we will say is, okay, we have a start date on the 1st and a start date on the 15th. And we're booked for the next 2 months. Our next start date is the 1st of November. The next start date is the 15th of November or, 1st of December. I'm actually not going to start another one until January 1st, right? Whatever it is.
Right.
And the reason that this is so critical is because one, when you know your capacity and then you see your start dates, you can then look at the cost of your standard project and you can do some basic math and say, am I going to hit my goals? If the answer is, yeah, I'm going to totally crush my revenue goal, great. Do you really need to start 24 clients a year? Oh, wait,
Right.
maybe you could do 18 And maybe
Mhm.
you're starting projects every 3 weeks instead of every 2 weeks. And you start to like grid it out in a very granular way. Because the feast and famine thing is like, okay, I finished all my projects and now I don't have any new ones. Let me go do all the marketing. All the clients come in because you're doing all the marketing. And then what do? You start them all at the same time. So now they're all hitting critical deadlines at the same time.
Yeah.
You're having to produce the same level of production on every single project at the same
Mhm.
time. So then you finally finish and you're exhausted and you're like, screw it. I just need like a week off. Right.
Mhm.
And then you don't do the marketing. And then you start to look around and go, I don't have any clients because your pipeline isn't full because you don't have stagger start, right? So what
Right.
I like to do is remember that part of running a business is having that consistent flow in your marketing so that you don't have these crazy times of feast and famine where everything comes in and then you just back yourself up and so that is the number one thing. So
Mhm.
sometimes whenever I work with a client on just like a regular 6-month term, if it's a one-on-one engagement, month 1, it's going to be so fun. Months 2 through 4 basically suck. Month 5, you start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And by month 6, things are working, right?
Yeah.
And that cadence holds so incredibly true because you've got to sometimes fix some of the things that aren't working.
Yeah.
And that's inherently in just like an uncomfortable space to be in. So knowing it going in, it's not going to be all sunshine and roses. You're going to actually have to do some stuff that's hard. It sort of it's not a big selling point. Hey, come 3 months of your term are going to totally suck. You're going to hate me. Come work with me. Sounds great, right? I just like to be real.
Honestly, I used to talk about it all the time. I don't do business coaching anymore, but when I did, I was like, I don't care if you like me. I'm not interested in you liking me. It's great if you do, and if we have fun together, that's
Mhm.
what I'm hoping. But like at the end of the day, I want to see you get results. I want you to be
Yeah.
so fucking rich at the end of this that you're like, oh my
Mhm.
God, Diana's the best coach ever. She's amazing.
Right.
I don't really like her all that much. She's got a little bit of attitude. I don't know about her, but she made me so much money. I don't care. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
fine with that.
Yeah,
So I love
exactly.
that. I would much rather you be an advocate for me than
Mhm.
be, just trying to be agreeable. Okay, so let's talk about making some of those leaps. So in scaling beyond one to one, so once you kind of get your process and your stuff figured out, they've maxed out their one to one capacity, their one to one
Yep.
client capacity. How does the structure of your mastermind offer scalable solutions or options that help them expand their reach and get more
Mhm.
multiple revenue streams, that kind of thing?
Yep. Once we have that baseline, we're going to do a couple things and it's going to be unique for each business. But what I like to first look at is where can we add a speed option, right? Where we can
Mm,
take the 6-month timeline and we do a website in a week, right? I'm not saying we get rid of the 6-month option. I'm saying
mhm,
we price appropriately a speed option. There are clients who will choose it, but they will also pay more.
mhm,
And because you'll have some of the systems built more for speed, there are going to be some of the things that you might do in a typical project that you wouldn't do in a speed offer, right? So you're
mhm.
stripping out, and this is a very popular model. There's certainly great people who teach just this model, but I don't love it as your solo model because you're constantly having to find the next client
Yeah.
because the projects are going so quickly. So yes, you're making more money, but you're in a position where if that's the only way you serve clients, if you don't get the next spot booked, you don't get the next source of revenue, right? So I
Right.
like to use this as okay, let's add a speed option. Then we might look towards what does it look like to add something that has my
Mhm.
favorite one. I'll share my favorite a client who was consistently finding the people who were coming to her didn't need or want all the bells and whistles. They didn't need really complicated sites. They were sort of on the earlier side of starting businesses, or
Mhm.
certainly this was their first website. So she went through and crafted a incredibly detailed DIY process that became almost completely hands off for her from the start of the project until the day where she took all the materials they had to submit into the different, Google Drive folders and that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
she was taking a template that they had pre-selected, filling in all their stuff and shipping the thing. One day of work, less than 8 hours, certainly not 8 hours of work. She was
Wow.
shipping it. And the
Nice.
beautiful thing about the way that she put it together is that she was paid up front for the DIY project. And it didn't matter to
Nice.
her, but by the
Right.
time they got their stuff submitted, they went into her queue. And she was very clear about, okay, you've submitted your materials, you'll expect to see your site in 10 days. And everything was so scripted out. So instead of maybe charging 8,500 for her market for a custom site, she could do it for 3,500, but
Yeah.
with just a couple hours of work. And it was so systematized that
Yeah.
she could outsource the actual production.
Nice.
So it
Oh,
became almost full profit for her because she was able to have somebody just sort of plug and play, and it was almost VA level work because of the way she
yeah.
designed it, which I thought was brilliant.
Yep. Oh, those are great when you've got those kinds of systems in place. Okay, so let's talk about pricing a little bit. So I know that you
Mhm,
help clients craft a pricing model that reflects their worth. What's the most immediate, concrete, strategic step a designer can take today, like if they're listening to this, to overcome the
mhm.
self doubt that prevents them from presenting like this high ticket like rate and
Sure.
really up leveling their stuff?
Yeah, the first mindset shift is this whole like charge what you're worth. Sorry, you don't have a value. I like to think about this as charge what the project is worth. And what do you mean by that? Well, if you're working for let's use interior design as an example. If you're
Mhm.
working for an interior designer and building out a website for that client, and they repeatedly, and you could find this out in your discovery process, charge $30,000 to the clients for an average project, and you're charging $1,500 for a website,
Mhm.
doesn't make sense, right?
Mhm.
What's
Yeah.
the project that is most likely to be booked by your client? What's that project worth? Well, if they're charging $30,000 on average and you want to charge 6K for a website, chances are that's going to be, pretty spot on. So
Mhm.
there's no like hard and fast price your projects this way. But when you know your ideal client and you understand what the typical value of the kind of work that they're doing is worth, then
Mhm.
you're able to sort of look at that in perspective. If you're charging, people who are doing masterminds, coaching masterminds, and you think, okay, well, what's the value of one client? Well, in my mastermind, the value of one client is basically about $10,000. So if somebody comes to me and they're charging me $1,000 for a website, I'm going to look at it and go, I don't know about that, because how many people do I want to have in my program? It's not just the $10,000. It's what does a full program look like?
Yeah.
And then we're asking, okay, is this project really reflecting the level of quality I want brought, given my end result that I'm looking to get? So you have to know a little bit more about the market you want to serve in order to make that differentiation. But the way that I start with it is I sometimes will just have them pause, and you can do this if you're listening. You can just pause. What do you want to charge? Forget all the shoulds, forget all the voices. Just what do you want to charge?
Yeah.
And there's so much like, oh, I want to charge $5,000. I'm going to say, great, let's charge $5,000. And they go, really? Yeah. Most of my designers have gotten into the 8, 10, 12, 15,000, 20,000. Some of my e-com gals are doing 40 and 50 and
Mhm.
80,000, $100,000 projects. But that's where everyone starts. So it's that initial, like, what do you want to charge? What is going to feel good for you? What feels like a good exchange for the value you're giving the client? Start there.
Yeah. I love that. I think that's genius advice because if you start listening to yourself first and you can do that in a way where you block out all the other stuff, it gets you
Mhm.
away from that resentment level pricing where you're not getting paid enough and you're pissed off every time you sit down to do, or that idealized pricing where it's like, oh man, everybody's telling me I should charge this, but you can't hold it. So if
Right.
you really just start listening to yourself first, you can help get to that like nice congruent number. And then you can move it up or down or whatever a little bit if
Yeah.
you feel like you need to. But I love that advice.
And certainly as you're growing an agency, you're going to be looking at other line items in terms of your expenses, things that you're investing in. You're going to make some more numbers based decisions when you get to that point. But if you're a solopreneur or maybe you just have a junior designer helping you a couple hours a month, like you can start with just like, where do you feel good? And start there. And then as you get more experience and get more comfortable, you'll start to bring in some of those additional factors. What are my costs? What are the different things that I want to be able to pay for as a result of having my business? You can start to ask those next level questions and you can start to become more sophisticated in the logic behind your pricing. But at first, sometimes you just have to go for it.
Okay, so since this is an AI channel and we talk a lot about AI here and we love it quite a bit.
Yeah,
So,
me
what
too.
do you think of AI? Where are you using it? Where are you not using it? How do you like it? How do you recommend it to your clients?
Yeah, this is a really important topic because for two reasons. One, I think to ignore it is short sighted. It's not one of those situations where this is going to go away. People are, oh, email's never going to catch on. Oh, text messaging's, yeah, it is. It's going to catch on.
Right.
And it's going to be a thing. All
Yeah.
right. So if we assume it's going to be a thing, then we have to ask some smart questions. So for me, what I did with the way I interacted and infused AI into my business, I said, where do I get stuck if I want to scale because of the time commitment that I need to give in order to feel like I'm doing a great job? My first answer was onboarding. I believe that whenever I onboard a client, I need to know everything about what you're doing with your offers, your sales, your market. I need to know that stuff because if I don't know it, I can't possibly give you my best advice because there's like big blind spots for me. But if I want to have a full program and keep my price point a place that is cash flow friendly for most of my clients, I need to figure out how I cannot do 90-minute onboarding calls with every single one of my clients. It's just, I don't have the scalability for that from a time perspective. So I've created really, really detailed and customized GPTs to onboard in the 4 core areas. And I use those to asynchronously work with my clients. So based on the output for one of those GPTs, the homework that they'll send me over, I might look at that and say, this is the next prompt I want you to fill into this GPT to continue that conversation and start to get a little bit more out of it.
So genius.
And then we've also added a special challenge that we do inside the mastermind. So people are like, oh, you think about 30-day decluttering challenge, and the task is the same for every single person who downloads the PDF from Pinterest, right?
Yeah.
These challenges are unique to the client's business based on everything they told me in onboarding. So even though they're doing a challenge with their peers, that's very unique and customized for them. And I'm doing all of that with AI, which is not something, even the challenge especially, is not something I would have had capacity to produce, even if I was doing onboarding calls. So that was the first place I decided to use it. And the next place I decided to use it is by making essentially a knowledge-based clone of myself. So when I have too many clients on my private Voxer, I've had a lot of trauma in my background around Voxer specifically. Like the little beeps just give me heart palpitations. I had to figure out a solve for this. And I know that my clients want to be able to ask me more personalized questions, or they may need some strategic advice when I'm not available. So we added a layer of all of my IP in a place where they can go at whatever time they're worried about it, 3 a.m. You can go and you can at least get a baseline answer until you can get to the next coaching. I wanted there to be a place that they could go privately, not in the community, but privately, being able to get a little bit of that back and forth advice. And so AI is great for that.
Nice. I love
So
that.
that's how
think
I
that's
used it.
it's genius. I love the brilliance of your first question. I just want to hit on it because I think it's such an important thing, because it seems like AI can do everything, and it can do so many things, but literally starting with the fundamental question of where's the bottleneck according to time? Where's the constraint according to time? That is going to be the simplest, the easiest place to implement AI to help you out. I love that.
Yeah.
And I think your
And
approach is genius
it's
with the GPTs.
I'm really excited about it. And here's like the secret reason that I had to figure out the solve.
Uh-huh.
And this is like one of those moments where you're like, really? This is why my mom, who, if anybody who knows me, my mom is so fun and she's super cool. She's totally supportive of me, but she's also 76 and she's not gonna live forever. So she's like, I really want to go to the Panama Canal. Well, my dad did not want to go to the Panama Canal. So my dad bought us a cruise, a 21-day cruise to the Panama Canal. And I'm like, Dad, you're awesome. And I run a business.
Right.
So I figure out, right? I had to figure out how was I going to onboard my mastermind clients in a totally integrous way while on a cruise ship for basically a month.
Right.
And that's what I came up with, because when my mom and I cruise together, she knows I have to continue to work. And so we build time inside of our day where she reads her book or listens to her audiobook. She's, enjoying the ship, and I actually get work done. So this asynchronous way for me to work with my clients during onboarding allows me to literally take this dream cruise with my mom. So it's like the perfect life balance that AI is letting me do, because doing onboarding calls when you don't have stable internet on a cruise ship kind of tricky.
I was gonna say, yeah, because cruise ships are known for their, like, super stable internet. I mean, like, that's the
Awesome.
craziest vacation, right,
Yeah.
to do, especially and since your program starts in January, so you're
Yeah.
leaving it's just so this is
Mhm.
genius. Yeah, I love this. I think this is just a
Yeah.
brilliant AI hack. The reason I think it's so helpful is not only is it helpful for you, I think it's really gonna benefit your clients. I think your clients are gonna love it and actually get maybe the whole idea of the challenge that it's customized for every person, they're almost
Mhm.
going to get more value out of you doing it this way. And then you get to go on a 3-week cruise. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's one of these best of both worlds. When I was designing the program, I was trying to think about everything from time commitments and learning styles to price point and just deliverables. One of the things that happens a lot of times when you start a program in January, you've got these great intentions, but you also have everything else this January. So one of the unique things that I started to do is when people join the program, people are joining even now in the month of October as we're recording this, they get to start onboarding right away. So they don't
Nice.
have to wait clear until January to start to have that asynchronous interaction and start to build out some of these layers of their business. They get to start right away. The challenge happens in February, which gives all the late additions, the people who sneak in under the wire for the start date, they get to get caught. They have a couple of days to get caught up and make sure everybody's on the same page. But it's a really nice way for me to be able to support them over a period of time where they might have busy season. This may be a really busy time of year and they can only work on it for an hour a week. But that's okay because they have plenty of time and space to finish it.
Okay, so we talked a lot about your masterminds, but you have a really fantastic free offer, which is one of the ways I think that's how you and I connected initially. So tell
Mhm.
us a little bit about the designer's table. And if people are resonating with this and they're curious about you and like want to know a little bit more of how you operate and how you work, talk to us a little bit about the designer's table because I just thought this was so great.
Yeah, we had a great time when that was actually exactly how we first connected. So, Designer's Table is meant to be a two-part thing. It's part showcasing your work. And as a designer who's oftentimes producing work that goes to clients that they get it, but they don't really get it. They can't see the behind the scenes of what it took for you to actually make this thing alive and beautiful on the screen for them. And the designer, your peers are cheering you on. They see your brilliance because they understand how difficult it actually is to create the thing you did. So you get a lot of that like peer I want to say like peer what's the word? I want to say attaboy, but that's not the word I want.
That's not bad.
I mean, peer recognition, right? Peer
Yeah.
celebration. So that's one
Yeah.
piece. The second piece of it is that I believe that designers need each other. They need each other because sometimes they get a project inquiry and they don't build on that platform, and the client
Mhm.
needs to stay on the platform. And you got to know some people you can trust who are on other platforms.
Mhm.
Also, sometimes you need to know a great copywriter, or you need to know a brand photographer, or like you, they need to know somebody who can help with AI photo shoots. This is a way for you to have sort of a vetted shortlist of designers in the space that you can build a relationship with. It doesn't happen all in 1 hour, but you're starting to build the relationship. And this goes on to become client collaborations, partnerships, referral partners, and friendships. And
Yeah.
that to me is really, really key. It's part of what I build when I curate my masterminds are these kinds of rooms.
Mhm.
So part of the fun of coming to it is you do get to meet me and ask the question, could Eryn be the right business coach for me? But
Mhm.
one of the things you're weighing it against is the kind of rooms I'm curating and realizing that that's actually just the tip of the iceberg in terms of the curation that's going to happen inside the actual program. Right now we're hosting it almost weekly. New people come in and make new friends and it's super fun.
Yeah, it is. It's a really cool experience because there aren't a lot of places that are really just focused on web designers. There are a few around like different platforms, like Squarespace.
Mhm.
Squarespace has a pretty rich
Sure.
community. I know Showit does, but it was really nice to just be on a call with other designers and just be like, we're
Mhm.
all immediately on the same page. We all have the same gripes about some client boundary things. We all have the
Yeah.
same gripes about why is this platform screwing this up? Oh my gosh. It was just
Yeah.
really cool because we immediately started talking about revenue streams, what was selling, what wasn't. And I assume
Mhm.
it's like this every time, but everybody on the
Mhm.
call was really candid. And we were like, okay, so
Yep.
the last couple months have been slow, but the beginning of the summer was hot. This is how I've positioned it that is really working. And these are the words I'm saying on sales calls. So it was really validating. It just felt really good. It was just really nice to be in that community. So yeah, I think you're creating something really special there. I think it's a
Yeah.
really, really cool thing. And the fact that it's free is it's just chef's kiss. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really fun. I was thinking about something that we didn't talk about when it came to AI that I think would be really relevant for your audience. And it
Yeah,
circles back to what we were talking about earlier when we were designing, like talking about how we extend the timeline and looked at all the things that were going into the project. AI is coming out in a way that a lot of designers I'm talking to, and I think maybe you as well, like they're
mhm,
really concerned. They're really worried about it.
for
Like,
sure.
is AI going to take my job
Yeah.
kind of way? And the thing that I have been digging into when I'm talking to people is what are the things that you as a human do to manage a project, to support a client in their thinking and thought processes in the next level design decisions that, yeah, AI can say, take this website and change the colors and make it look like this. But the thing your client doesn't know is, does that website actually convert? They
Yeah.
have no behind the scenes view of that business. They don't know
Right.
how things are going. And that is one of the things that is so deeply human about the process. So even if AI is being used as a tool in web design, and if you can find shortcuts to speed it up or ways to make it more efficient, do it. But realize like the thing they're paying you for are all those things that AI can't replicate.
I love that. I think that's such a good note to kind of end on. I think that's so important because I really 100% agree with you. And I have definitely had my anxiety attack weekends where I did not sleep because I was like, if my last 20 years of my life are obsolete and useless and I'm going to be homeless soon. Like, I understand the panic and the freak out. And I honestly think to a certain degree, it's healthy because AI is
Yeah.
changing everything. And it is
Yeah.
100% okay for you to be a little nervous right now. Get out there, learn, sign up for things, work with people who are savvy with AI. Like
Mhm.
at this point in my life, I'm not even really working with or associating with and spending a lot of time with people who are not in the AI space, even if like they're just an accountant, but if they know how to use AI and they're integrating it, because I think those are the people moving forward.
Yeah.
But I really agree with you. There's a reason that a huge big company has never taken over web design. There's a reason. It's like interior design. There's no productized service for that. You can't just like design my living room. I like pink. Like
Right?
you can't do it. It's the same way for a website. It's like I sell widgets and it's like there's so much more. There's a reason that and big companies have tried, by the way. They have tried to do it, but nobody has come up with like a one and done solution for here. You just plug in this little bit and we're just going to build you the perfect website. It's never worked. Designers have
Mhm.
been so key when Squarespace and Wix started doing their thing, it's like, well, this is going to put web designers out of business. And I'm like, I have been hearing this is going to put web designers out of business for 20 years.
20 years.
And it
Yeah.
hasn't happened. When I look at AI, I'm like, yes, it's going to change everything. Yes, there's going to be new systems and processes in place. It might turn the industry on its head. Is it going to make us obsolete? Not with what I see today. No. Yeah.
No, even as it continues to be able to do things that are extraordinary, there's still the element. And I think the other thing that we, as designers and as people who are studying and looking at AI, want to take into consideration is that we are in a bubble. We are
Yeah.
looking at this industry from inside of a bubble.
Yes.
And I was having this conversation during our happy hour. My mom and my aunt and I get together for happy hour, sometimes virtually on Friday afternoons. And both of them are saying, I don't want anything to do with AI. Now, they're an older
Mm.
generation,
Mhm.
but they're an older generation that's still heavily involved in business and in commerce and in all. So there's going to be people that will have to adapt and have to adopt some of the pieces of it. But there's also going to be a huge base of, if my aunt wanted to start some kind of a side hustle project, she
Mhm.
doesn't know how to build her own website and she knows nothing about AI. So what are her
Right.
options?
Right.
She's going to need to find some kind of a designer who is going to be able to support her process. And so it just keeps it so incredibly relevant for the people that we know and work with. We just have to remember and keep it all in perspective.
I love that. I agree with that. And because I can't shut up, I'll throw in one more thing really quickly too. Every time I turn around, somebody else is closing their door. Somebody else was like, I'm leaving business. It was just this weird week where all these people online were like, I'm making less money than I ever have, like all this stuff. It was really interesting because yes, AI is changing things. Yes, I know times are tough right now for a lot of people. I know it's hard to get clients. I know a lot of things that used to work in the past are not working now. But the thing that it always makes me think of, and again, it's because I've seen this so many times, because I've been doing this since 2006, and I have been put out of business like 6 times. I heard Gary Vee say years ago something. He was doing a talk, a keynote somewhere, and he said, "Y'all have been making A-level money with D-level gain." And I thought that was it was so funny because he's like, the economy's good, people got money to spend, money's flowing, and you just kind of show up and say, hey, I've got a business, and people are like flinging money in your face. And he said, now we're entering a period where that isn't true anymore. And
Huh?
I felt that. And he goes, the thing that's so great about it is, yes, it's going to hurt the industry. Yes, web designers are going to lose their job, but all the web designers that are going to go away are the ones who have D-level game, are the ones who either aren't committed, they don't know what they're doing, they don't have the skill set, or they never learned
Mhm.
it. Those people are so easy to beat. So
Yep.
if you're committed, if you've been honing your skills and you know what you're doing, you have something to offer, you're clear on it, you can articulate it, this can
Mhm.
be our time. This
Mhm.
can be the time
Mhm.
to thrive. Seeing things go down in the market is not necessarily bad for your business. The tools, the support, the mentors, and the knowledge to take it to the next level.
No, I totally agree with you. And I think that it really your perspective really can show when you look at how you view these times. One of the things that I'm very committed to, sometimes we're creating content, we're just putting it out there and we feel like we're just talking to the void. And who there's no, I got 2 likes on my post, or only one person commented. It's like, yeah, but you don't know who's watching and not liking or commenting and watching you as you produce a body of work that is educational, informational, entertaining, all the different things that our content can be. And it is building you a trust pipeline you can't even see.
Yep.
You don't know they're watching. So if
Yep.
you stop and get discouraged because you only got 1 like, then you don't know all the silent people who are like, well, I guess she's out of the game. And they're going to go look at somebody else and buy from a competitor of yours. Because thinking about it as, not trust takes so long to build, but I get the opportunity to build trust that brings me much more educated and savvy buyers who are ready to make decisions, commitment they've had to really getting to know me and my philosophy. My buyers are more sophisticated now than ever. And if they get on a call and they're not asking me hard questions, it tells me that they're like price shopping me. Oh, I
Yeah.
just want to see if you're the lowest cost in town, versus the person who comes and says, tell me how you use Colby and human design in your mastermind.
Oh, nice.
Whoa. Right?
Right.
You're paying attention to me and what I'm
Yeah.
saying and what I'm putting out there. I didn't even know the person existed. And she showed
Yeah.
up, had 1 call, and purchased. But she'd been watching me for 6 months. So
Right.
this is the thing we always need to remember as we're like putting all of what you've said in perspective, is that this is a long game. It's a huge opportunity for us.
Yep. And it works. It absolutely 100% works.
Yeah.
Even if you can't see it, it doesn't mean it's not coming. It works.
Mhm.
It's just reps. You just have to put in
Yep.
the time. And if you can separate it, if you can get away from the failure success thing, like you said, and I mean, I'm totally guilty of it. Oh my God, only 2 people like that post. Where do I get my self-worth from? If not social media, I don't know. I get it. But then I also know, okay, I didn't say that I was going to do social media or send out newsletters until I got a certain result. I said I was going to send out this amount of social media for this amount of time. So this was
Yeah.
just Wednesdays. Now let's keep going. You put in the reps and it'll work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it gives you great opportunities too. As you make the commitment to put out the content, you get to test and see what does start to resonate, what people are responding to.
Yep.
The topics that I write about, I can write 3 LinkedIn posts in a week and none of them take off. And next week, there's something really great. And guess what? That one, I'm going to spin that out into 3 more ideas. If you are so worried about the individual like and like the validation you're getting from every single instance, you miss the opportunity to test your messages, your marketing message, and refine it as you go. And the fact that not everybody is seeing every post is actually a gift because it gives you a little bit of room to suck and experiment.
For sure. I love it.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, Eryn, I can't thank you enough. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much. I just love talking to you. We're for sure going to do this again. And I know I'll see you
Yes,
around LinkedIn and stuff, but tell
of course.
people how they can find you and like where to connect with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do hang out mostly on LinkedIn. So I think you'll probably have some pretty cool little links in the show notes or beneath
For
the
sure.
video. So that's a
Yep.
quick and easy link. If you want to learn more about the Creative Autonomy Mastermind that I'm running, that link is there as well. It's a great place for you to learn more about the program. And then finally, that designer's table, I'll have the direct link for you to share because anybody who wants to join in and just have a great hour 1 week to have a little bit of pick me up from creative peers, that's the place to come.
Absolutely. And thanks everybody for being here. And we will see you next time.